Hey everybody, Jake here and welcome to the hobby. So it turns out that a first edition base set booster box case that was purchased by Logan Paul for $3.5 million has turned out to be completely fake. He has just recently posted up a video of him unboxing the whole entire case with proper authentication people present, and the box came back completely fake. There was not a single real Pokemon card inside. The case was fake, the boxes were fake, the packs inside weren't even Pokemon booster packs. So how did this booster box case be authenticated into a legitimate product? Because real legitimate professionals were there to authenticate it. The company that authenticated the booster box case was BCE. They're actually fairly known in the sports collectible scene. They've done some work with other graders of Pokemon cards like PSA in grading things like booster packs, but they're not known for grading Pokemon products. So I'm actually really surprised that they even bother to authenticate something like this. But since it's come out that this has completely bite them in the butt, BCE is no longer going to be authenticating any future Pokemon collectibles. I think they might reassess if they ever want to enter the scene again. So how did this mistake happen, and how did Logan Paul end up buying a $3.5 million of fake Pokemon cards? He did get all of his money back, but I really wanted to cover this story because I think it's super interesting. There's a ton of red flags on why this box was cased. Most people who have been following the trail of how this box has been sold and traded hands over the last couple of months or the past year can tell you that there are a ton of issues with it that are really straightforward. So I'm going to let you see what some of those red flags are for yourself and see how obvious it was that this booster box case was 100% fake. There was just like no way it could even be close to being real. So I would like to rewind way before Logan Paul ever purchased this first edition base set booster box. Where did it all come from? So the story actually really started back in March of 2021 when the booster box case came up on sale on eBay auction. And that is going to be your very first red flag. Inexpensive, rare, highly desirable collectible like a first edition base set booster box case would never ever go up for auction on eBay listing. That's just not the right platform. Most high-end rare collectibles would most likely go through a reputable secondhand seller like a major auction website like Heritage Auctions or Christie's or another major platform. It would not be sold through eBay. So that is the very first red flag. Second major red flag is the eBay seller themselves. And I kid you not, the name of the eBay seller who was auctioning off this first edition base set booster box case was #1 Pokemon Master. They did not have a high number of reviews, and there were just a ton of issues with it. You're not going to see some random person who has never traded Pokemon collectibles before selling off an item like this. People who own items like this have a lot of notoriety and have a strong reputation. Reputation is everything inside of this business. When it comes to Pokemon collecting, a lot of people don't bring stuff to BCE for grading, for instance, because they are not known for being a Pokemon grader. That's all it is. Reputation is everything. That's why something like this Zekrom slab behind me is pretty much worthless for the grade that it got, because no one knows the authenticator. Reputation is everything. So that is why an item like this would never be sold on eBay. First red flag. Second red flag is the seller themselves. And there's even more red flags after that. The item sold for $72,000 US on eBay auction, which is nothing compared to its true value. If this was a legitimate first edition base set booster box case, it would go for upwards of $2 million easily. I think $2 million is the low end. So the fact that this sold for $72,000 pretty much mean the general community of Pokemon collectors really didn't see it as being truly legitimate. And the people that did bid on it were willing to take the risk. They were willing to take a chance, a shot that this could potentially, even if it was like 5% chance that it could be real, it is probably worth it to auction it off and maybe win it for $72,000. So this box has traded hands a couple of times before finally making it to Logan Paul. But let's talk about some more red flags. The booster box case itself, there's a lot of issues with it. And some of these issues are not going to be obvious to the everyday folk. But for people that are in the hobby, people that are professionals, graders, or authenticators, these issues should be really obvious. Issue number one, the tape is completely incorrect. The tape, the font, the sizing of it is not the same tape and font size that Wizard of the Coast use on their other products. The quotation, all of the language, it's not right. It's close. To the naked eye, you might think this looks the same as a sealed one that is graded or authenticated, but it's not the same. There are issues. That is, easily passable. I don't think most regular people would really notice something like that. But let's move on to some of the more obvious stuff. The label itself. If you look at the label on Logan Paul's booster box case, the font is really dark. In fact, it looks very, very clean. It looks very fresh. I can show you an example of a true legitimate first edition booster box case label, and what you will notice about it is that it's faded, it's old, it's aged over the past 22 years. You can see that most of the font is completely faded and you can barely read it. If you look at Logan Paul's label, there's completely legible letters. It's all there, it looks fresh, it's dark, it's completely brand new. So that's another major red flags. In fact, I'm trying to go over some of the more obvious ones. There's a ton of red flags here. The labeling is incorrect. The font isn't right. The words aren't correct. The barcode isn't correct. There's so many issues with it. There were so many red flags that I don't think I can understand how this booster box case could even be close to passing authentication, because we have legitimate examples out there. This is not a one-of-a-kind product, which was another thing that it was advertised at, was that it was one of a kind. It really wasn't. So there were tons of issues. I felt like most people in the collectors community knew that this box was not legitimate. There's been tons of talk about it over the past couple months on Discord subreddit, and most people are pretty much convinced that it's fake. So I'm surprised that it was traded hands so many times by so many reputable people. Logan Paul bought it from someone that he trusts. He bought it because it was authenticated. So I don't really blame him. This seems like he got screwed, but not really the case. All of the right signs were there. If you're someone that is not knowledgeable about the hobby and someone that is reputable, backed by a large major company, said that it is a legitimate product, then you have the right reasonableness to believe them. So I actually don't really blame him for making this mistake. This is a mistake that honestly any major buyer could potentially make if they don't really think it over completely. There's just so many small issues with it that at first glance you probably wouldn't catch on if you're not in the know, in the actual scene themselves. So that pretty much covers the story of Logan Paul's fake first edition base set booster box. I think if we were to just take a step back and look at the big picture, the red flags were super obvious, but I don't blame him for messing this one up. I think there's a lesson here to learn by all of us. I've purchased plenty of fake products in my collecting career, and I'm sure some of you guys have as well. I bought fake cars before, I bought fake products before. Doesn't happen that often anymore, and I'm usually pretty good at spotting fake listings, fake products, or just terrible deals very quickly at a glance. But that's just something I've learned with experience, and honestly, it's just something that you learn as you become better as a collector. And even the best collectors in the community have been fooled before. The top YouTubers, the top collectors, they've all made major mistakes of buying fake first edition base set booster boxes or fake case, fake packs, fake cards. It happens to all of us. So I'll be honest, just be careful out there. That's the best I can really say. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.